Hi everyone, welcome to Chalchitra Talks. मेरा नाम Vaani है and in this episode I want to talk to you about the books that have been helping me out recently. I'll give you slight context. A lot of my friends moved out of the city and away, and all of a sudden I find that all of my weekend plans are cancelled, which is great. This is something that excited me a lot initially, but then I also found myself needing company but not getting one, which made me feel very lonely and miserable. In these times, I found a few books that really helped me, and I wanted to recommend the same to you. First book that I want to talk to you about is The Lonely City by Olivia Lang, and it's about the city of New York. Every time I've come across the city of New York in a movie or a book, I am amazed by how beautifully they portray the city. When I recommended Insomniac City, New York, Oliver Sacks and I by Bill Hayes, I was overcome by emotion. The way Bill Hayes talks about New York, the city. And Olivia Lang's The Lonely City is somewhat like that. The first line of the book itself is imagine standing by a window at night on the 6th or 17th or 43rd floor of a building. The city reveals itself as a set of cells, 100,000 windows, some darkened and some flooded with green or white or golden light. Inside, strangers swim to and fro, attending to the business of their private hours. You can see them, but you can't reach them. And so, this commonplace urban phenomena, available in any city of the world on any night, conveys to even the most social a tremor of loneliness. Its uneasy combination of separation and exposure. You can be lonely anywhere, but there is a particular flavor to the loneliness that comes from living in a city surrounded by millions of people. It's possible, easy even, to feel desolate and unfrequented in oneself while living cheek by jowl with others. And I have been reading this book, I haven't completed it, and she takes you through the works and lives of some of the most compelling artists of New York. She talks to you about what it feels to be alone. And she does not only talk to you about what causes this loneliness, but also tells you a way out of it. The second book that I want to talk to you about is Winnie the Pooh. It's not a serious read. It's a very light-hearted read. You can start a chapter and you can finish it in about 15 or 20 minutes. There's nothing of substance here, but there's certain innocence that makes you appreciate life. And there are some sentences that will just catch you off guard, and you would just find yourself like, hey, what did I just read? What I also felt while reading Winnie the Pooh was that there are certain problems that I wish I had, but I was also amused by the problems certain characters have in the book, and I think all of us will find it that way. There is another children's book that I recommended. This was the first book that I read at the beginning of this year. It's called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, and it's by Charlie McCarthy. And it's a graphic novel of sorts. He is an illustrator, and I'm absolutely in love with the book. I mean, I was in love with the book when I initially read it, but it just did not hit the kind of chord you want a book to hit with you. You kind of keep on expecting. Every time you go into a piece of art, I don't know about you, but for me, I always wanted to be my game changer. I wanted to change my perspective. I want it to be the catalyst for something big to happen. And when I read The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, a lot of people were talking great many things about it. I posted about it in the book club that we have on WhatsApp. This is a book club where our patrons participate in the conversations. And a lot of patrons told me, hey, this is such a lovely book. A few days ago, it so happened that I was just not able to get out of bed because I just did not want to work and I was feeling so unmotivated. And I just wanted someone to be in the room and talk to me because I hadn't had human interaction in a long time, proper human interaction in a long time. And I came across a post which had a screenshot from this book. And I was like, hey, I have this book, right? And I went back and I reread this book. And I realized the beauty of this book lies in its simplicity. The next book that I want to recommend to you is The School of Life. Of course, I've spoken about it before. And last time when I did, I spoke about the self. But this time when I read it like I opened a random page which I cannot find now. But it was about trying to be with yourself, validating yourself and your emotions, and how to deal with friends and parents and relationships. School of Life is a great book for emotional maturity, of course. But sometimes when you are feeling lonely or low or alone, what matters is how calm a piece of art makes you, or how calm anything makes you. Sometimes the very act of making tea calms me down. And reading School of Life or reading Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, these two books just add so much calm to my life. There's another book that I must mention, like I do in a lot of videos. It's called A Book of Simple Living by Ruskin Bond. And the last book that I want to recommend to you is actually something I'm revisiting. It's Harry Potter. I've reached book 3, and once I'm done reading all the books, I plan to do my whole experience of reading Harry Potter, which I'm very excited about because I just posted about Harry Potter a few days ago in the book club that we have, and I got more recommendations. So I am particularly excited about that part. Children's books are something that I just think are very underrated. I've said this time and time again, but I would say this again. Read children's books because they'll offer you a perspective that you never really thought of. Every time you pick up a book that has been written for children, you will come back with a new thing, new value, new learning. And the thing about children's books is they're so innocently written, they excite you about things. There is this a beautiful poem by Ibn Insha about childhood. I do not remember the name of the poem, but the context or the gist of the writing is that when he was a young child, he would go visit a fair. He wanted to buy a toy, he wanted to buy sweets. Every shop that he see, he wanted to buy something from this, but he had no money. Now, he's visited the fair again today. If he wants to, he can buy the entire shop or the shops or the fair. But the only sad part is he's no longer the same child as he was when he was growing up. But it's also about surrounding yourself with things you fear and overcoming them. These are a few books that have really helped me. Having said that, I've been watching a lot of TV shows. I've finished watching Succession. I am on to Ted Lasso. So, like Vaibhav's recommendations are really helping me. And I hope you liked this week's recommendation. And I will be back with another recommendation for you in my next video. But before I go, I want to tell you that you can support us on Patreon if you like our work. You can also become a member of our YouTube community. We have carefully divided our patrons into 3 different categories: Goodfellas, Gladiators, and Godfathers. Godfathers are at the top. And each category comes with its own perks. You get access to our WhatsApp groups that are dedicated to books, movies, music. If you're a Godfather, there are additional groups that you get to be a part of: Science Club, Sports Club, and so on. You get to attend the monthly town hall sessions that Vaibhav and I host with our Godfathers. And you also get to be a part of our streams and quizzes, so there are a lot of opportunities. And so if you like our work, do support us. It will really help us, and we would love your support. That's what keeps us going. And I will be back with another recommendation for you in my next episode.